Welcome to the East Coast College Admissions Podcast, the podcast that brings you expert insights and guidance on navigating the competitive world of East Coast College admissions. Whether you're a student preparing your application, a parent looking for the best strategies, or a high school counselor helping students succeed, this podcast is your go-to resource. Hosted by myself, Cleopatra, a seasoned college admissions professional. I will be covering everything from crafting standout essays to mastering the interview process, securing financial aid, and beyond. Tune in for insider tips, success stories, and interviews with admissions officers, giving you the edge you need to achieve your college dreams. Welcome to the very first episode of the East Coast College Admissions Podcast, the podcast where we bring you expert insights and practical advice on navigating the world of East Coast College admissions. I am your host, Cleopatra, and today we are diving into the heart of what this podcast and my entire business is about. Why focus on East Coast colleges? If you're a student, parent, or even a high school counselor, you've probably heard a lot about the allure of East Coast colleges. Schools like Harvard, Princeton, MIT, and other prestigious names often come to mind. But the East Coast has so much more to offer than just the Ivy Leagues. In this episode, I will explain why East Coast colleges can be a great option for students and why I've chosen to focus my counseling business on these schools. First things first, let's talk about the East Coast reputation. This region is home to some of the oldest and most established colleges and universities in the United States. It's a place where academic traditions run deep, and many of the schools here are well respected globally. But what does this mean for you really, the prospective student? Well, attending an East Coast college means you'll likely be exposed to incredible academic resources, cutting-edge research, and a vast alumni network that will help you in future careers. Not to mention, East Coast schools are often located in or near major cities like Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C., giving students endless opportunities for internships, networking, and hands-on learning. But here's the thing. Navigating the East Coast admissions process can be very overwhelming. Each school is unique in its requirement, deadlines, and what they are looking for in applicants. That's where the East Coast College Admissions Podcast comes in. In this podcast, I will be your guide through this complex landscape, offering tips and strategies to help you and your students stand out in the admissions process. Now, why did I decide to focus my business on East Coast colleges? Let me share a personal story. Growing up, I always knew that the East Coast was home to some of the best schools in the country. But what struck me most was the diversity of options, small liberal arts colleges, research-heavy universities, and everything in between. There was something basically for everyone. I realized though that many students and parents only knew the famous names like Harvard and Yale, but they were unaware of the hundreds of the amazing schools on the East Coast that could also be a perfect fit for them. That's why I decided to build my business around helping families discover and navigate these schools. I wanted to provide a roadmap through the maze of options, helping students find their best fit colleges, not just the ones with the biggest names. And let's be honest, getting into East Coast schools can be very competitive. With acceptance rates at some schools below 10%, it's not just about being a great student. It's about knowing how to present yourself in the best possible light. Through this podcast, I'll share proven strategies to help you stand out, from perfecting your application essays to acing the interview process and making the most of your campus visits. So what's next for the East Coast College Admissions Podcast? Over the course of this podcast, I'm going to dive deep into the world of admissions in upcoming episodes. I'll cover topics like how to create a strong college list, the importance of extracurricular activities, and what admissions officers really want to see in an applicant. Plus, I'll bring on guests, admissions experts, former students, and even college admissions officers who will share their own experience and insights. Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one key takeaway. Choosing the right college is about more than just prestige. It's about finding a school where you will thrive academically, socially, and personally. The East Coast offers a wide range of options, and my goal is to help you discover the ones that are the best fit for you. Whether you are aiming for the Ivy Leagues or a hidden gem of a liberal arts college, I'm here to guide you through the process. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe to East Coast College Admissions Podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. You can also follow us on social media for more tips and updates. And if you're a parent or student who wants personalized support, visit our website at www.eastcoastadmissions.com to learn more about how we can work together. Thanks for tuning into the first episode of the East Coast College Admissions Podcast. I am your host, Cleopatra, and I look forward to help you navigate the path to college success. See you next time.